Thanks for joining Veiled Mystic today as we examine the psychic ability of time travel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. An in-depth examination of teleportation and its reality-bending implications. Of all hypothesized psychic talents, the concept of teleportation uniquely captivates humanity's imagination with its promises of spatial liberation transcending mundane limits. Despite lacking scientific basis presently, global legends keep mysteries stirring about esoteric sects or metaphysically adept prodigies somehow mastering this reality-defying feat through consciousness alone. While arguments persist around factuality, examining alleged teleportation conceptually still yields staggering potential should existence permit bypassing physical distance and time restrictions at will through psychic manipulation. By reviewing key theories, historic accounts, quantum contrasts and implications philosophically, fertile grounds emerge for envisioning fantastical skills within reach pending further evolution. Defining the teleportation construct. On basic levels, teleportation implies the seamless repositioning of subjects or items across significant distances without undergoing motion or duration through the intervening space itself. Through selective dimensional phasing, it effectively permits reaching any physical location or coordinate instantly regardless of modern time and space constraints. Unlike bilocation where consciousness projects some immaterial aspect remotely yet keeps physical form stationary, true teleportation seemingly transfers entire corporeal profiles fully across space and time continuums using only psychic resonance principles. This advanced apportative procedure suggests profound interconnectivity permeates existence below perceived boundaries. Theorizing possible mechanisms behind teleportation. Since achieving teleportative effects defies conventional physics presently, explaining alleged incidents requires speculating creatively about reality's hidden inner workings. Leading theories propose teleportation becoming possible by mindfully harnessing innate quantum properties usually passive for achieving macroscopic exchanges causally. Consciousness tuning itself resonantly with ambient zero-point and dark energy fields conceivably allows intentional phasing between dimensional layers comprising spacetime's foundational strata. Visualizations focusing intensely on destination loci might provide navigational vectors for entanglement while surging emotions amplify psychic resonance strengths permitting bodily transference across intersecting membrane planes. In this model, universal consciousness momentarily overtakes individuated perspectives to bypass perceived barriers using the least spacetime separation paths metaphysically through deepest levels of implicate reality. This aligns with holographic universe postulations allowing existence's energy information matrix recalibrating instantly despite entities moved contradicting localized relativistic frameworks during the conscious willful act. Testing such theories remains challenging given current scientific instrumentation limitations quantifying psychic phenomena's impact on external environments let alone something as profound as moving mass instantly through space without propulsive interactions. However, sufficient anecdotal accounts globally warrant more than dismissals when weighting existential possibilities beyond reductive thinking constraints. Historic and modern first-hand teleportation accounts. Second-hand testimonies of individuals teleporting, whether deliberately or spontaneously, sporadically emerge in records dating back millennia yet contain eerie similarities regardless of vast cultural divides. Those deemed most credible frequently share qualities like initially occurring during high emotional distress, strong familiarity bonds with the eventual relocation site, subjects having previous paranormal encounters suggesting latent psychic sensitivities, plus documentation of unusual residual physical effects. For example, during the 16th century, a Franciscan friar named Gil Perez suddenly found himself teleported from Manila inside central Mexico's Governor Palace to the shock of guards who proceeded documenting the bizarre event extensively. Records state Perez aiming sleep after choir prayer before mysteriously relocating across the Pacific despite no memory for how or why phenomena occurred. Informal surveys among Poles report sizable statistics also believing they traveled distances instantly or experienced missing time indicating possible accidental teleportation. Those convey feelings suddenly overcoming them like body paralysis and powerful sensations of motion before abruptly discovering their environments changed far from initial positions without logically experiencing durations fitting physical travel at normal velocities. While evidence still only constitutes anecdotal testimony, the prevalence across eras and cultures urges consideration. There exists latent variables mainstream institutions still cannot reliably monitor or document despite repeatable subjective reports. Much as UFO sightings prevailed long before gaining mainstream traction, teleportation accounts fractionally increase while awaiting external technologies catching up with internal potentials psychic anomalies imply are accessible innately if awakening methodologies refine. Teleportation versus bilocation projection states. In mystical literature, discussions around fantastical psychic feats like teleportation sometimes become conflated with alleged abilities like bilocation, being conscious simultaneously across dual remote spaces. But important distinctions separate bilocation and teleportation phenomena metaphysically. Unlike full teleportation spacetime defiance that instantly changes positions between locations with complete physical transference, psychic bilocators merely project some immaterial extension of consciousness toward secondary sites while keeping corporeal form stationary relative to points of origin. This autonomous projection leaves subtle yet measurable traces like influenced environments or witnessed apparitions that seem physical temporarily but lack permanence beyond sustained mental effort achieving localization there. Yet intriguingly, bilocators maintain uninterrupted cognition despite dividing focal attention between dual presence loci powered psychically. In contrast, teleporting creates no secondary projection that dualistically coexists with the original profile. Instead, the singular corporeal form itself gets transplanted across space and time instantly through unexplained means that redistribute entire atomic structures psycho-energetically during recondensing at intended destinations. Thus, bilocation signifies more akin to out-of-body states whereas teleportation demonstrates profound atomic reordering defying present physics through psychic manipulation alone. Yet both anomalous categories display consciousness influencing external conditions in traditionally unrecognized fashions beyond conventionally accepted beliefs on limitations. Teleportation versus quantum teleportation. Another technical usage of the term teleportation apart from alleged psychic feats falls under quantum information theory, which recognizes a computing procedure for transmitting quantum data across distances without physical travel. This arises by entangling twin particles sharing identical states so that measuring one particle instantly conveys information for defining its former entangled partner anywhere in space regardless of separation distance. However, this specialized usage dealing strictly with inanimate microscopic information exchanges remains only metaphorically akin to the macro-level bodily and object teleportation found in parapsychological claims involving living systems or complex materials. It also requires significant machinery for controlling highly refined subatomic interactions on sensitive scales compared to alleged psychic teleporters needing only mental faculties for resonating living forms or even non-living compounds across limitless distances instantly beyond space and time hindrances. While advances in quantum teleportation inch nearer models that might eventually reinvent modern transportation systems, they still fail accounting for numerous alleged teleportation incidents found present-day and historically involving integrated human bodies or sophisticated materials getting impossibly displaced across vast distances without established causality. This perpetually beckons explanations still elusive to predominant scientific paradigms dismissive of interacting consciousness forces despite abundance in global testimony beckoning comprehensive discernment rather than unquestioned skepticism. CIA teleportation files declassified. Following public disclosures of declassified CIA documents in 2003, the broader public discovered extended interest and research efforts within intelligence agencies exploring teleportation concepts alongside the more expected fields like remote viewing or ESP spying programs. The exposed CIA documents showcase contracted researchers compiling and evaluating foreign teleportation accounts retrieved from classified KGB documents back in the 1970s during Cold War projects investigating purported anomalous mental capabilities for opportunities gaining advantages. These files describe KGB archival entries featuring numerous eyewitness testimonies of Soviet citizens and soldiers apparently teleporting miles instantly during times of conflict or distress in the field. Despite fantastic details difficult accepting outright, the report's tone generally treats subject material seriously rather than trivializing events automatically as delusions or hallucinations. It also notes striking cross-case consistency patterns despite fully independent documenting chains. While these controversial CIA records offer no solid endorsements about teleportation's legitimacy, the investigatory themes display extended governmental fascination with magical concepts like teleportation typically associated with fantasy or spiritual contexts. Such declassified examples confirm that modern institutions took genuine interest in reconciling profound subject matter against prevailing materialist paradigms that tended dismissing mystical phenomena arbitrarily when encountering expressions beyond conventional recognition. Philosophizing implications if teleportation proved possible. If teleportative talents ever transformed from strictly speculative discussion topics into demonstrable reproducible skills measurable across quantifiable psychic testing, it would invariably shake scientific foundations requiring radical expansions of permitted causality linking consciousness to external physical manipulations beyond presently accepted limitations. By purposefully selecting spatial endpoints then translocating bodily across distances without undergoing durations through space itself, the relativistic principles defining perceived limitations essentially cease relevance beyond those illusionistic constraints of reality. Space and time themselves become rendered as mental potentials alone rather than externally governed inevitabilities upon sentient experience. Such exhibition of intent-driven form assembly and embedment across multiple times and places signifies deeper holographic interconnectivity permeating existence that transcends localized perceptibility. Any capacities teleporting macroscopic entities essentially dissolve portions of identity previously conformed by positional fixities or duration since transitions become feasibly achieved across countless alternate avenues of freedom only minimally conceived through contemporary referential frames. Of course socially such developments would impose massive change as geography loses restrictive significance. Privacy faces threats by those seeking exploitation of such reality-bending potentials without ethics. Power also shifts drastically from materialistic structures towards more esoteric manifestations of influence through psi competencies rather than simply leveraging physical resources. Yet ideally principles of balance and karmic wisdom tend rising alongside potentials for abuse regarding evolved technologies surpassing present paradigms. Thus regulations and self-responsibility may gradually integrate alongside teleportative skills rather than rashly spurring capabilities faster than integration with collective benefit. If phenomenon someday prove substantive, a renewed sense of multidimensional identity albeit disorienting initially realigns conceptualizations about existence toward transcending mundane structures. Evaluating teleportation evidence with open-minded discernment. While teleportation remains confined to staples of science fiction for modern society, sufficient evidence and eyewitness testimonies accumulated globally should warrant reasonable evaluation that consciousness may exhibit more reality-molding powers when catalyzing conditions activate extraordinary potentials. By speculatively discussing concepts backed in logic, the profound reveals itself as least no more implausible than yesterday's flights of fantasy. This contrasts excessive skepticism that arrogantly rejects exploration by clinging reactionarily to outdated assumptions about probable limits nearing expiration. For those understanding that reality manifests as collaboration between internal and external projections at collective scales, no phenomena ever seem permanently implausible given vast unknowns pervading thinly charted frontiers. All that limits achievement are self-imposed constraints to imagination and probability. Thus teleportation fails actualization only when preventing beliefs from recognizing innate human transcendence of primitive bounds confining perception. Yet it dawns closest when minds free themselves through unconditional ideation. By weighing teleportation testimonies with logic rather than knee-jerk dismissiveness, fertile grounds emerge for envisioning extraordinary skills-weighting integration as conscious evolution unfolds. Eventually that which seems magical transitions into fundamentals for existence liberated beyond transient illusions that once confined likelihoods but hold no bearing on what awakened minds determine possible. When teleportation ceases dwelling as just speculation and instead sprouts visible tangibility through focused intent, reality's hologram proves itself rewritable by cognizant souls rather than standing externally detached. All that was required was first dissolving the impossible within limited thinking itself.